Welcome back to Breakfast Television. Looks like it's going to be a very nice day. It's just after 7 a.m. and we are in the studio today talking about hearing with all of the different gadgets that we have these days with the earbuds from our phones and our MP3 players and whatnot. There is a big concern about hearing loss, not only in adults, but in our children who use these devices quite a bit. And we're happy to have Markus Hilbert joining us. Good morning from the Chinook Hearing Clinic.
Thank you.
Tell me, how much of a concern is this that we have all of these things with us all the time in our ears?
It can't be good. Long term, it can't be good. The culture at large is one that we appreciate sound, we love our music, we love communicating, and we have so much technology to help us do that. And the technology also become a lot smaller, so it's a lot more portable. We can put it in the ear, we can have it ear level, but that causes some concern with how much exposure we're actually giving ourselves. We're probably at this point the loudest culture that in our history, exposed to a lot more sound than any generation before us. So what impact does that have? We don't really know yet, but we do know industrial noise standards. We know what we can expect from certain decibel levels in terms of exposure and how much damage that's going to cause long term. And if we compare those two, we find some interesting conclusions.
Now, you brought some charts with you that show different levels of different things. Explain this one for us a little bit.
Well, what we did is we put a headset on and we played various inputs. So we had conversational speech, then we had somebody singing, and then we had classical music playing in Latin guitar music, which is a little bit louder than average classical music. We didn't even get into some of the louder rock and roll kind of stuff. So what we found is that we graphed it. First of all, we put a little microphone in the ear canal, put the headphone on, and measured it, what's actually happening at the eardrum. And conversational speech comes in about 60 to 70 decibels. The next level up, singing, is a little bit louder, 70 to 80 decibels. Classical music, 80 to 90, and then the Latin guitar is 90 plus, and we can only assume that anything more perhaps aggressive in its music is going to be even louder than that.
Now, what is safe? What levels are safe for our ears?
Let's take a look at this one. We compare it to the noise levels according to WCB, and they have stipulated that if, for example, you're exposed to 91 decibels, you can be exposed for 2 hours at that. So looking
and that's
at
the
these,
maximum?
And that would be the maximum for a duration of 4 hours that could at that point cause long-term hearing loss.
Okay.
So in terms of those four inputs, you can listen to conversational speech all day. So you could talk to somebody all day long and not get a hearing loss, which is good. Singing, you can sing a little bit less all day long, and between about over 16 hours you can sing and not cause a hearing loss. Classical music, you're looking at about 4 to 8 hours, and Latin guitar music is less than 1 hour.
Now, when we're looking at these units, how loud do they go? How many decibels are we talking?
Some of them have built-in limits, so you can't turn it beyond a certain point. And so, for example, the iPod, you can do that. However, it depends on a number of factors. So the type of headphones you're using, the type of device you're listening to, and the environment that you're in as well. So if you're in a traffic situation, sitting on the bus and you're listening to your MP3 player, chances are you're going to turn a lot louder than you would sitting at home listening to it in a quiet room, just to get rid of the ambient noise.
But do a lot of them go far beyond a recommended hearing level?
Yeah, you can well get levels over 100 decibels, and that is definitely damaging for a very short period of time. So if somebody listens to 100 decibels, favorite music, for 4 to 5 hours a day, you're going to see hearing loss. And
how do we gauge that? I mean, as a parent, how do we know how loud is too loud? We don't have a decibel meter.
You don't. Common sense. So if you're able to hear the music when you're standing beside somebody listening to it, probably a good sign that it's too loud. If you notice that over a long period of time, maybe a couple of years of listening to it, you're starting to get ringing in the ear, or communication and noise becomes more difficult. So you go to a loud restaurant, you can hear less well or understand less well. That's another sign of potentially developing hearing loss.
Now let's look at the ear, because tell us exactly what's happening inside and where the risk is in the ear. What can get damaged?
Sound has to travel down the ear canal. It vibrates the eardrum and jiggles 3 little bones right behind it in sync with the vibration of the eardrum, which causes a wave, a literal fluid wave in this chamber here, which is filled with fluid. There's little cells in there suspended. And as the sound comes in, they go down. Now they're on, now you're hearing, and then they come back up as the wave passes. So if you put an earplug in here, you're closing the ear canal. When you close the ear canal, you occlude it, and by occluding it, it acts as an amplification chamber. So not only is the level of the unit relevant, but the size of the ear canal. So if it's a very small ear canal, it actually acts as a louder perceived sound than a larger ear canal, for example.
Now this is the interior part that you're talking about that
yeah,
can
those
get
are the hair
squashed
cells.
down, right?
That's right. So healthy hair cells are nicely standing up, but as noise damages them, they just break down. So they're unable to pick up sound properly.
And those will never go back?
Never come back.
And so the more of those that we lose, the less we can hear? Is that how it works?
Absolutely.
Now tell me about some of the modifications that we can make. I see that you've brought some of these colorful earbuds that you've added on to these other
So first of all, hearing protection, if you're exposed to any kind of industrial noise, you would get something customized like this. And it would be in a softer material. It would be solid, and it can also have a filter built in to attenuate some of the sound to reduce the risk of developing hearing loss. Never, a guarantee that you're not going to develop a hearing loss, but it's definitely a better approach than some of those foamy buds.
And what do these do then?
This one in particular attaches to your cell phone right in the back, and you would have it in the ear while you're hopefully not driving, but if you were and you shoulder check, it won't pop out of the ear as easily. So it's a lot more secure, and also directs the sound where it's supposed to go. You don't have to crank it up as much because some of the buds move around, so you're more likely to turn it up just so that when it moves, you're still able to hear. So it's a little bit of a safer device, and these are just come to the clinic and you get an ear mold done, get sent to the factory, and gets built for a specific person. These ones here attach right to the iPod. Again, same idea. The bud is actually glued right into the mold.
All right.
And fits into the ear.
Okay, well, there are options out there, and as parents, if you can hear that music when they've got their earphones in, tell them to turn it down. Thanks very much, Markus, for joining us today.
Thank you.
We are going to check in with Jeff Valance now and get the latest in news.